Okay, so welcome everyone. I'm Eileen Apperson. I am the non-credit coordinator or coordinator of non-credit programs. We also call this extended learning. And so if you look us up on the Read the College website, that's the title of the page and the program is extended learning. I've gone to conferences and all colleges have this issue of what to call us and what is going to resonate with students more. There's a whole issue of calling anything a non anything is kind of a negative. And so, but extended learning doesn't always say exactly that these courses are non-credit and students don't have to pay for them. So I use both of the words non-credit and extended learning interchangeably and sometimes both together. In case you see those words, it's the issue that all college campuses seem to have. So what I'm hoping to do, I just have 5 slides, this being one of them. So I wanted to give just a little bit of overview of the non-credit program and what it entails. And I'm hoping to keep that kind of brief to really just open up the conversation to questions that you have. I'm trying to make this a real catch-all. So for people who maybe don't know anything about the non-credit programs and how they're different from credit, to how I'm sorry, my doorbell just rang. Who it is. In fact, can I pause real quick? I'm so sorry. I'll be right back. Okay, well, that was embarrassing. I locked my husband out of the house. So I had to stop for it. So for people who don't know anything about non-credit, people who do know, want a little bit more information, people who might want to take a non-credit class or offer a non-credit class in their discipline. So it's not advancing. Stop the share a second. All kinds of difficulties today. Okay, I'll just do it this way. So there we go. Let me make this larger. I'll just do it this way. It's not wanting to advance on its own. Oops. Okay, can you see that all right on your screens?
Yeah,
okay.
I can see it, Eileen.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks. So here are the few purposes of non-credit to bridge to college programs. I meet at outreach events, a lot of juniors and seniors in high school that are coming to those outreach events, and they really don't know what they want to study. They have a lot of different interests, or they have no real interests, and it's kind of a safe way for them to try a class, see if it's, they have aptitude for it, see if they're interested in it, with it being, very minimal risk. And that really appeals to them because they're not putting money into it or time or effort, more importantly, in a lot of the cases, to classes that they want to walk away from. And if they walk away from a class, it might, detrimentally affect their standing or their GPA. So that's that bridge to college, trying to get them interested in college at no risk. There's a short-term vocational, just an additional skill. I think that's one reason the QuickBook classes are so popular, is they need to learn a new skill in a job that they're already in. And then, workforce preparation, learning an entire new field, like our land surveying, becoming a land surveyor. The upskilling employees is kind of like that short-term vocational. of learning some additional skills for somewhere that you already work, but maybe involves promotion at the workplace. And then, of course, the other part of this is the lifelong learning for adults, older adults. And there's no true definition of older adults, because it's really technically anybody over 18 can take these classes. But the idea is that somebody older, maybe retired, who just has interests in subjects such as art or literature, those things. These are the differences between the credit and the non-credit for those that aren't too sure about this. Of course, our credit courses generate that apportionment. Non-credit there are 2 levels of apportionment, and so we do get some apportionment for our non-credit classes. And there's a non-credit apportionment that is less. And then in some of our areas, some of our certificates of completion, especially in those vocational areas, we do get apportionment that is equal to credit, because it's that workforce initiative. Of course, with credit courses, students pay for their units. In non-credit, no tuition. Health fee still applies. Can't get around that, or I've heard we could get around that, but we don't get around that. So we do try to advertise that there is always going to be a health fee. Of course, that's different. If it's an online class, it's a little less. If it's a summer class, it's a little less. Credit courses, of course, degree applicable. But for non-credit, you can't apply those to a degree because there's no units involved. The credit courses, you can get there's those certificates of achievement. And for the credit, certificate of achievement, where non-credit, we call them certificate of competency and certificate of completion. And the credit courses, of course, are non-repeatable, but non-credit courses can be repeated. We have on our CORs 99 times. I think it gave us a 2-digit fill in the blank, and so it became 99, but they're repeatable indefinitely. And this is one reason it appeals to some programs, because we have students who want to keep improving their skills. There's art students and music students, say, who want to keep taking classes over and over to just strengthen their talents, their skills. Welding, I think maybe the situation could be like that too, where you have where people are building skills, and then and that way they can keep doing that in the time that they're at Reedley College, and then they're leaving with a lot more strengths than if they were only taking the credit class. For the credit courses, the COR, the course outline of record, is approved and chaptered at the chancellor's office, and no difference for the non-credit courses. Non-credit courses have to go through curriculum review, exactly the same as the credit courses. So, any questions on this one? There might be some questions you might want to come back to, but does anybody have any questions about this difference between or similarities between the credit and the non-credit? All right, and so some of this, the benefits of offering non-credit courses is much the same as what I mentioned on a previous slide. It does provide access for underprepared and underserved populations. You think about our ESL classes that are tuition free, so students do not have to pay that to improve their speaking skills and writing skills. There's the equal support for new, returning, continuing students with their career skills and goals. And we do really encourage that transition to degree options. So if a student, I mentioned a high school senior who doesn't know if she wants to take accounting classes or not. She's a little interested, but not quite sure what those classes would be. she's not sure if she would like that degree, and, you know, committing to that, she could take the non-credit accounting classes. And if it doesn't work out, it's not her thing, she can walk away from it. It's not going to detrimentally affect her. It won't affect her GPA. But if she decides she likes it, she finishes that accounting class and decides that I want to major in this. This is what I want to do with my life. As long as she has passed that class with a C or above, she can then later petition for the units. So if she's passed the class, great. There is a process in place where she can go ahead and petition, pay for those units then. She's going to have to pay for them at that point, take an exam. And what the people I've talked to who have done this in OT, I've talked to Tiffany Dix about this in OT, what they typically do is use the final exam from that class that they took. They take it again. Hopefully they pass it again. And then they're awarded those units, and then they can go ahead and pursue that degree. And so we're hoping to use non-credit courses as a transition to degree and completion. And I already mentioned lifelong learning. For programs, we have both mirrored and then standalone course options. 95% of our courses are mirrored. So that accounting class is being taught alongside, at the same time, exact same class with the 4-credit. And so as an instructor, you have to kind of dig in your Canvas or look into self-service to find out which students are which. Doesn't matter, you teach those students all exactly the same, as specifically for that reason that when a non-credit student finishes, they can petition for those units. So they have to learn the same skills. They have to have all of the same curriculum. So we call those mirrored classes. I teach a couple of different English classes that are mirrored. And again, I grade them all the same at the end of the semester. Some students get letter grades. Some students get the yes or no for pass or no pass. And that's just based on whether they got the C or above, right? If they passed or not. We do have a few standalone courses. The one comes to mind is communication in the workplace that our communication instructors have created. And they offer those it's a certificate, but they offer it during a week. In 3 or they're a class per week for 3 weeks, and students can take 1, 2, or all 3 classes that are all focused on relationships and communication in the workplace. And then they can, you know, get their certificate at the end, or just pick and choose, take 1 or 2 of those courses. And so it's it's just 2 nights a week for those 3 weeks for all 3 courses. So that's really kind of a standalone class. And we're hoping we'll just, you know, especially a class like that, grow those community partnerships. And, you know, that we're offering something for our businesses in our community, something that they can benefit from, they can send their employees to, improve their communication in the workplace. It's all a win-win-win, right? And then those are people that might come and take an additional non-credit class with us. They're, you know, oftentimes if it's a situation where it's lifelong learning and somebody is, you know, loving their wheel throwing class or their art class, a lot of times our older population have that money to donate to the school or to help with a scholarship, or you know, give in other ways, and they have a positive experience of our community college, and they want to kind of pay that back for their good experience. And so it's building all of those relationships and partnerships with the community. And then last slide is just, I want everybody to have our contact information. And so there is mine with my email, my extension. And my role as the coordinator for non-credit programs is, you know, that curriculum guidance. So if a program decides they want to write curriculum for their program, a non-credit course, can help with that. You know, in developing the COR, if it's a mirrored course, that's really easy, because you're copying and pasting all of your course description, your lab content, your lecture content, all of that into your textbooks. You're copying that into a new course shell that's non-credit. The few different boxes that you need to check for non-credit. And in some instances, we do change the title slightly so as not to confuse students between the credit class and the non-credit. We want to make sure they know. And I'll mention right now the credit class. So, you know, English 15E is 15E. The non-credit is 315E. So it'll be the same last two digit numbers or single digit number, but it'll be a 300 series. So they'll have a 3 in front of it, right? So make it a 300 number, and that indicates it's a non-credit. But our students, you know, wouldn't particularly know that. So so we have the different, of course, all of them are 300 series classes. And for some of them, we do add on a title for older adults, especially for those that are geared toward our older adult population. So a new class this semester is Shakespeare, which is Shakespeare is English 47. So the mirrored course written for older adults is English 347. And so just saying Shakespeare, it says Shakespeare for older adults. And we kind of get those guidelines from the chancellor's office. And so when our curriculum is approved and chaptered at the chancellor's office, they like to see that little bit of designation for those that are specifically for older adults. And then I help with marketing. So I'll create any kind of flyers, social media posts. I'm posting things on Facebook all the time, getting lots of interest on Facebook. I manage the interest forms that are coming in, where potential students are saying which classes they're interested in. I'm sending them information on how to enroll and getting them help numbers on how to enroll. And then any kind of teaching support, record keeping, all of, you know, what we need to turn in at the end of semester, which really is exactly what we need to do for a credit course. We turn in the exact same information, the attendance sheets, the grading sheets that we create. But I'm there for that teaching support. And I think Sonia came in. Hi, say hi.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? If I haven't met any of you, my name is Sonia Silva. I'm the adult ed counselor, and I assist Eileen with the non-credit classes of my my major offsite campuses that I work at is Selma Adult School, Sanger Adult School, and I also travel to Parlier, Dinuba. So I am one of the counselors there, along with Anna Chavez, who is assisting me a couple days out of the week as well, to assist our students who are at these school sites. And when these classes are being offered, I am the counselor on site to help them register, get ready for these classes as well. Really popular class that everybody is interested in right now is Office Technology. On campuses, there's a series, Sanger Adult is already in their second term of that, which Selma Adult, we lost them for a little bit, but we are back now. We're very happy. That is my backyard as well, so I wanted it worked out just fine. And we are in the first series of the beginning of the classes for Office Technology starting this Monday, right? January 13th as well. So we're getting ready, and we're also having a wonderful new class that is for older adults. It's an exercise fitness course, fitness and movement, I believe, that's going to be offered for our older adults here at Selma Adult. Sanger Adult is currently having that. Going on, I believe, over, Eileen, maybe 2 years. I'm not sure. It's been a while. They've been established, and now that Selma Adult is interested, I myself am trying to recruit my parents, older adults who I know here in my town, to attend because gym memberships are so high sometimes for some of our community members who can't afford that monthly. And this is a great class with them who are interested in their fitness as well. But I am the counselor if anyone needs to reach out to me for any questions, any students you may have that are interested in non-credit courses. I would be the person and Anna Chavez as well, who will be here on Tuesdays and Fridays, and I am here Monday through Thursday.
Great. Yeah, so Sonia has just been great about going out to all these registration events we've had at our adult schools, and trying to get our potential students enrolled. CCC Apply, if you don't know, if you haven't gone through the process, isn't always easy. And so I'm always anytime I give out the how to enroll, the 4 steps of how to enroll in classes, I always include Sonia's extension and the outreach extension. When I went through CCC Apply this summer, I had to call Kia and say, I missed a step, what went wrong? And she walked me through it. And so it's not always easy, kudos to our students who fly through it without a problem. So please reach out to us if you're having any issues. So yeah. And Sonia mentioned too the non-credit to credit transition. I know we have at least one student at Sanger Adult who wants to transition to credit and earn her degree. So yeah, so I'll go ahead and stop the share. I just want to open it up to questions that you might have or conversations we might have. So anybody have anything they want to either share or ask? Hi, Rob.
Eileen, I wanted to comment on the grading. When we enter the grades, we enter either a Y for yes, they completed the course, or an N for no, they did not complete the course. I always struggle a little bit when I'm explaining to students, that you're going to pass the course or fail the course, because you're not really failing the course because there's no grade in the course. And then I say, well, you don't get credit for it. Well, you don't get credit either way.
Yeah.
And so I struggle a little bit explaining that to the student and using the right wording maybe. But
Right.
I've also had counselors that didn't understand when the student went in. They said, well, your instructor put a Y in the place of the grade, and that's not what, I don't know what that means.
You're right, right. And one thing you can say to them is we have that system in place for those students who do want to petition for the credit. And so then counselors can go back and see that, yes, first of all, yes, they passed the course with a Y, right? They passed, they got at least a C or above. They passed the course. So now they can go through that next step and actually, petition for those units. And so it's all a part of that transitioning to a 4 credit program if they choose to do that. And so that we just need to know if they passed the course or not. Because if they didn't pass the course, you're not going to petition for your D or your F, because that's not, better just start over and try that because it's repeatable 99 times. So go ahead and take that non-credit class again until you pass it. And then you want those units and petition for those units. So it's, like a lot of our systems, they have to be kind of broad to try and catch the most students. And it doesn't fit every person's situation sometimes, but it's the best we can do for those students who do want petition for the units.
The other thing maybe I should ask or clarify, back in the beginning, when first started these, I know I entered one of the grade, we entered just as regular letter grades. And I had a student that I felt, well, he did good enough that I don't want him to fail. He received a D in the class because they didn't complete all their assignments. A D at that time, anyways, the way we entered the grades, a D was not considered credit. It didn't give them, they didn't pass. Once again, I'm using that word, but didn't receive the credit for passing that non-credit class.
Mhm.
And so as we enter our grades, should we, do you know now what is considered a yes and what is considered a no?
Yeah,
Is it the C level or is it the D
Yeah.
level?
For our classes, on our side of campus or whatever you want to call it, it's a C's passing. So that 70% is
Yeah.
passing.
But
Anything
here
below
on campus,
70
for a
is not
regular
passing.
credit, for a regular credit class, a D is passing as long as it's not for your major, right?
My understanding, and I think Natalie's in here, or Gil, maybe you guys can answer that better, or Susanna. It's they can receive the unit. If it's a credit class, they can, if they get a D, they get the units, but they don't, it affects their grade and they don't pass the class, and they would need to retake it, to retake the class because they can't transfer it. That's my understanding.
Okay.
There are some, hi guys, sorry. I was being all incognito, just listening in. And I'll let some of our other counselors that are on the call as well, but I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that, because I think it just depends on like, for example, if they're trying to transfer, or if they're just using it for the units or the degree here. Gil just turned his camera on, so I'll let him, he'll talk a little bit. I can let him talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the situation and what the current goals of the student. So if they're on a certificate program, are they meeting the requirement, the C requirement to meet that degree requirement? Or if it's a transfer purpose, are they meeting this? It just really just depends on what the student's goal is in terms of the grading policy, especially. So if the student wants to get a certificate, well, the chances are they're probably going to need a C grade for that. So they have to meet that minimum requirement of C to get that certificate or whatever goal they have in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially if I would say if they're building skills, you want them to be able to pass, especially like an introductory course, you want them to have those skills and prove they have those skills, or come to class more often than not, and adhere to your attendance policy. So to pass the class, to be able to move on and then apply those skills to the next level too.
Right. And that's how I've handled it, and how I've been doing my classes. More, I was bringing it up just kind of for information. I think
Yeah.
there's a number of counselors on here, and sometimes I think maybe they don't get the information relayed to them. So I was hoping that would be helpful.
It's also
Yeah,
it's also understanding the circumstances of the grade as well. So we also look at how are your grades going to impact your financial aid? Are you going to have, what's your financial aid status going to be? Are you going to be meeting your degree requirements? What's your long-term goal of being in school? If you fail this class, this is going to set you back. And I think especially a lot of times with adult learners, it's really keeping in mind what they got going on in their lives. Do they have family? Do they have a job? Do they have kids? It's kind of keeping that timeline in mind in terms of, okay, what kind of supports can we give these students to help them pass that class, help them to better understand the financial aid process and how their grades are related to that.
For the most part, a general rule of thumb is a C grade or above is passing. D's for the most part are not. If we look at the petitions that students have to do when they are considering repeating a course and it's a third attempt, normally a D is not a passing grade. So we want to make sure that we get that straight to the students. A lot of them do have that misconception that, oh, well, I got a D, it should be passing. No, it's not. Some universities like Fresno State might accept 1 or 2 Ds in their general education, but for the most part, it does have to be a C or higher in all the major classes. And general ed, if they also want to have a good GPA for transfer and for their degrees as well.
Yeah. And in high school, a D was passing. That's one of, those transitions to college where typically, yeah, a C. C's required, 70%. Yeah.
Correct.
Eileen, I also wanted to mention to everybody that if you come across any students who are interested, I'm meeting quite a bit of students who they're interested to go straight to the workforce. They talk to me, and these classes non-credit at the adult schools is a great opportunity for them because they could receive 3 certificates at one time. For the office technology, for instance, a Microsoft certificate, Microsoft Office, Office Assistant, and reception. Just taking these classes at Selma or Sanger Adult School and then take it to the workforce. So once they get the information, they're very interested because a lot of my population have families. And they have to go straight to the workforce, and they're looking for something to guide them to get a better job instead of, working a standard job here. They want to make more money for their families. So if you come across a student who is interested, this would be a great set of classes for them to take as well.
Sorry about that. The Zoom stopped. You were saying, Sonia? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Want me to repeat it again, everything? So I was just mentioning that the classes of the office technology are a great set of classes for students. If you come across students that are interested to go, they need a job, because all my students are seeking to work right away. These for example, office technology courses held at the adult schools, they could receive 3 certificates at one time: Microsoft Office, Reception, and Office Assistant. So I tell them, you could take this to the workforce once it's completed, and they think about that, and they're like, because most of my population have families, currently work at a packing house, work at local convenience stores, something like that, and they want to hire their pay for their family. So they hear about this, and then they could get a job at a school district, and so forth. But if you come across any students who are interested, this would be a great set of classes for them to take, because they're not really interested to go, for the degree route at this time. But then they get all the information about our classes that are offered at these adult schools, and then they're continuous there and finish. And they're very excited receiving the certificates as well at graduation as well.
Yeah, I think we have about, I think it's the number's 23, 25 non-credit certificates. I know, Rob, you alone have 3 of them in welding. Yeah, and as you mentioned, a lot of office technology, accounting. Yeah, so and they can, use those to, for pay increase in their workplace too. So good. And such a great confidence builder. Any other questions or observations, or, I mean, there's a lot of counselors here, so issues that you see in counseling that maybe I can help with at some time. Maybe I won't have the answer today, but it's something I could find out for you. If there's any questions you have. I understand, and Natalie, maybe you know more about this. I'm putting you on the spot. CCC Apply, are we getting a better system for that?
I probably should keep my camera off for this answer, so my face doesn't say things. So here's the deal. So we all recognize CCC Apply is awful, but there is significant movement now happening. And Dr. Buckley, we're really fortunate that he's serving on a statewide group that is looking at CCC Apply. They're about ready to go as a state. They're about ready to go out for bid for another product. So I'm sure whoever's currently running it is going to be part of that process. And one of the tools that they're looking at includes a 1-page scannable application that will upload into whatever system to make it a lot easier for the folks that we work with on a regular basis with our non-credit students. So there is hope. So I guess my camera being on is good, because that hopefully this is hopeful face.
That's a face of hope.
Yeah, so there's hope still. But for right now, It is CCC apply, and we're kind of stuck with the current process, but there's hope. So send those good positive vibes to Dr. Buckley, and I'm hoping that at some point also that we will have an opportunity for some of our campus folks to be involved in those statewide conversations as they move forward with selecting who that will be, or at least giving, being able to provide feedback as they're working through the process on identifying who, which vendor they want to go with. So I will continue to share out as I know more.
Great, thank you. Because, you know, our entering, you know, seniors from high school get that help in the reg to go, even though we know a lot of them are flagged because they're kind of all happening at once. You know, those of you that have been at those events feel the pain of that. And we have other different, you know, different populations where we go to, you know, a senior center. Hopefully we're going to be going to senior home soon this for a particular art class that they want to offer at Sierra View. When we do that, yeah, batch enrolling everybody at the same time from the same location, that might be an issue where they get flagged for fraud, you know, different things. At least, you know, with a, you know, there's no financial aid with a non-credit, right? So hopefully we avoid some of that, those fraudulent situations with our non-credit students. But at the same time, it's a struggle and it's difficult for some of our older population. I've had some older students say, forget it, I'm not doing it. I can't get through this. I don't understand what they're asking for. I'm 65 years old and I don't remember my high school GPA and I don't know what I want to major in at Ridley College. And I just don't, just put something down, just, you know, it's fine. It's just the hoops we have to jump through. And some people are good at jumping through hoops and other people just walk away from it. So, you know, and then we have people who, you know, have language barriers and technology barriers in their home. What do they do, and how are they struggling to get to us? They just don't know how to. You know, they maybe see our flyer up on social media, but then they really can't get through that next step. So if you talk to faculty that you think have been interested in creating courses, or you see, like I said, mostly, you know, counselors here, if you see gaps in programs that, you know, students have, programs have, especially as they work toward transfer, you know, if there's anything in there that we can help support through non-credit, that'd be really wonderful to know. So I could help work with faculty on creating those things, or that idea of repeatability too. You know, if there are courses where that practice skill more than just one semester, that practice skill would be really beneficial for students. We could definitely talk to faculty about adding that. So one reason, you know, David Hicks has wheel throwing in there, because you can't, it's one of those things you can't learn in one semester. You need to have that guided practice for more semesters than that, either for fun or for transferring or building your skill for transferring for an art degree. So. Any other questions? Are we good? We done? All right, I think we're good. So hopefully that gave a little bit of background on the differences between credit and non-credit, and also the reasons why our community and our students could benefit from the non-credit programs. So just be open, email me, come by my office. It's Forum 7, and I'm there most of the times. I have meetings here and there, but otherwise you'll find me in Forum 7. And I'm happy to talk to you about any of these things, and I'm still learning this. Rebecca Hayter's done a wonderful job in the years before. I shadowed her last spring and was on my own for the first time doing this in the fall. But I know I still have a lot to learn. So your questions really helped me learn it. So let me know if there's anything I can try and find out for you. And thank you, Sonia, for chiming in. Thank you, Natalie, for letting me put you on the spot. Thanks, Gil. Thanks, Susanna.
Thank you all. This is
Okay.
great, Eileen. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Rob. All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye, Eileen.
Bye.